Buckle up, take a seat, get a snack, because we have a lot of mom talks to mom talk about. Welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel. We do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. I typically cover TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things on this channel, so subscribe if that's your vibe. My voice is a little hoarse because I've been sick, but I just couldn't wait any longer to talk about this show with y'all. So today I want to talk about the hottest reality TV show of recent years. The show that should have been called Meet Me in Momtok, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, the show coming for all of Bravo's nachos and somehow accomplishing it without any alcohol. Like, Bravo could never. But yes, like many reality fans, I have been obsessed with Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I did watch season 1 last year in 2024, and for some reason I did not make a video about it. I did have a lot of thoughts, but I think it was during a time where I was burnt out or something. But this time I am free as a bird, and I was sick even, so I had time to like binge the entire season. They released the whole season, maybe, TBD, we'll talk about that, but they released 10 whole episodes instead of doing like batches of episodes or week by week, so there's a lot to binge. This is kind of a side tangent, but have y'all noticed Hulu has been going back to the binge model lately? I want to know how y'all feel about binging versus batches versus week to week, because everyone is kind of doing different things. It kind of feels like a lot of shows have switched over to week. I see a lot of benefits in that for the big shows. Severance, The White Lotus, like a lot of the HBO shows, they have like a lot of conversation. There's things to pick apart in every episode, and it lets people have theories about the show. And for reality, I feel like it's not as necessary. Like, I like binging my reality shows. Honestly, I like binging all my shows. But for the big, super popular shows that it feels like everyone's watching, I don't mind week to week. And I was really kind of glad The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives came out with 10 whole episodes to start. It's a show that like came out with such a bang in season 1. They got me hooked immediately at the end of the very first episode where Taylor gets arrested. When I started the show, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I wasn't super convinced on the concept, but then that arrest happened and it was just so gaggy. It was reality TV gold. They got me good. By the time season 2 rolled around, I'm over here dancing to the intro, which the intro goes hard, even if it is a Temu version of Unholy. They literally did use Unholy in the very first episode, in the first like intro part, and they said, we are not paying for that again. Let's make our own version. And that's the intro song. But it still goes hard. That's how good of a song Unholy is, honestly. Even the knockoff sounds good. So let's get into it. I'm going to talk about each of the main cast members and their storylines during season 2 so far. But let's start with how terrible all of their hair extensions are. I'm just kidding. I mean, no, there were some really bad extensions. But no, let me just get into the actual cast members and storylines this season. And I want to start with our star, Miss Taylor Frankie Paul, the reason we are gathered here today. So she is the leader of Momtok. And by the way, oh God, sorry, I have so many thoughts on the show. It's going to be rambling. It is what it is. On TikTok, I've been seeing one of the dance moms from back in the day, Christy. If you watch Dance Moms, it is Chloe's mom. She is doing like mini recaps of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and focusing on like her experience on a reality show that's kind of similar and trying to like guess what's going on behind the scenes during season 2 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Her recaps have been really interesting, and one takeaway from those was that on the show, the term Momtok is code for the show. And once Christy said that in her TikTok, I couldn't unhear it, because the whole season there's a lot of talk about like who's in Momtok, who's out, who is good for Momtok, who's bad for Momtok. And if you just replace that with like who is good on this show, on this TV show, it makes a lot more sense, because the Momtok influencer group that these girls are part of is kind of nebulous, and it kind of doesn't mean that much. Like, they don't seem to be like an actual strong friend group with like a ton of history. It's kind of confusing who was in the original Momtok, because like people on social media say, oh, it was Taylor and Miranda who's in this season, and then some girl named Camille, and they were like the swinging scandal ones, and all these other girls are kind of random and they were more like acquaintance. I saw on a podcast too that like one of the Nick Vial or one of those asked like, can you explain who was in the original Momtok? And every time they explain that, it's super confusing, but it's like they would just see each other at influencer events, and that's where they would do their TikToks with each other and like the dances with the bigger groups. And sometimes like influencers would come from out of town. So it kind of seems like a lot bigger of like a club that isn't like a tight friend group. And that checks out with a lot of what happens in season 2, because it seems like a lot of the friendships just aren't that deep, and people are just concerned about the numbers, the money, the fame, and it kind of feels like for a lot of them, fame has gone to their heads already. And it makes sense when you realize these aren't like a friend group that have been together for a long time. The whole Momtok thing is very vague and nebulous and on purpose. And in season 2, when they keep talking about like Momtok and protecting Momtok and it's women supporting women, it's about the show. It's like who should be on the cast, who should be featured on the show. But anyway, Taylor, our star, she is my unbothered queen, chaos goblin of this show, and anyone who tries to take her crown will fall, as we saw in season 2. And Taylor definitely struggles with some deep, dark demons. She struggles with self-worth a lot. She has so many toxic relationships around her. Her boyfriend on and off Dakota is a mess. Her family is a mess. So it's hard to like expect her to be anything different than what she is. But she is perfect for reality TV. She is the realest of the bunch. I think she is like the fan favorite as much as the star can be a fan favorite, because she gets a ton of hate too. She's a perfect example of what I talk about all the time, of needing to be this level of authentic to connect with people on reality TV. She's willing to put like the ugliest, most vulnerable, most humiliating parts of her life on TV. I mean, in season 1, they show her arrest, body cam footage, her at her absolute worst. And the thing that kicked off this whole show is her being on a live stream and talking about how she was soft swinging with several of the women in Momtok and their husbands. She's also not afraid to like fight with her parents, fight with her boyfriend, fight with her friends in front of the cameras and air everything out. She is putting herself on the front lines for public scrutiny, and that's the authenticity that, yes, is gonna get so much hate and so much criticism, but it's also gonna make people fall in love with you. Like, this shit works more than having good looks, more than having a bunch of money, more than yelling at someone at a dinner, Demi. All of these other bitches are real careful about what they're saying, what they're putting on the show. They get super scared when anything like slightly unfavorable gets exposed on camera. Even something as simple as when Taylor brought the store-bought apple pie to like a scratch bake-off, Mormon bake-off at the Friendsgiving. That was so freaking funny and relatable. She like puts a store-bought apple pie into a homemade looking pan, and then everyone loves the pie. And then Taylor, she'll be petty in really funny ways. Like, I'm sorry, that's what we want to see on reality TV. And then Taylor will also choose to not be petty at times when it matters. She could have been really petty about Whitney's baby shower because Whitney didn't go to Taylor's baby shower last season, but she went to Whitney's baby shower. She's like, whatever, I'm not gonna hold it against her, she didn't come to mine. But then she was really petty with the Christmas gift to Demi. She sent her a reminder of like how she betrayed her best friend through a bunch of hair care PR. And by the way, this video is probably best if you watch the whole season to understand it, because it's hard enough when you're watching the actual show to like keep track of who's who and what's happening. So if you haven't seen the show, I can't guarantee you're gonna follow all of this drama, but I assume if you clicked on this, you've seen the show. But yeah, the Christmas gift to Demi was a hilarious level of petty. Also, the CMA thing and drama. She went to the CMAs, posted Instagram photos, and then noticed that none of the Momtok girls publicly commented on that. That huge opportunity, huge career highlight for Taylor. So she posted a story shading them and being like, none of them commented on my post. That's so rude. All of the Momtoks get so mad at Taylor for that story because everyone then goes and bullies all of them. And Taylor just explains it like, I was just feeling petty in the moment, like it was whatever. So yes, Taylor was wrong for that, but Mikayla and Mayci pull her aside and talk to her about how it hurt them, and Taylor listens and reflects and then apologizes and feels bad for it. So she didn't realize how it would affect other people. The other girls are kind of like, how can you not realize that? But like, Taylor's not the brightest crayon in the box, or whatever they say. As she would say, she's dumb as a block, apparently. It seems like Taylor's pretty self-aware that she was being petty in the moment, but not self-aware enough to like think of the consequences at all of any action, honestly. I feel like Buddhist monks meditate for years just to achieve the level of present that Taylor is at any given moment. And I feel like that explains all of her actions. She's very impulsive, and that's what gets her into trouble constantly in life. But it also like helps her move on from things and not hold a grudge, like the Whitney baby shower thing. So in this season, Taylor is back with a vengeance, and the other girls are getting a taste of fame. There's an attempted coup against Taylor as the leader of Momtok. Demi tried it, but Taylor invented you. It's giving, I like invented her, you know what I mean? But it's true, she did in this case. All these other random basic bitches from Utah got to ride the coattails of Taylor's swinging scandal, which was basically clickbait, because if you watch the very first episode of season 1, it really makes it seem like all of these ladies were swinging with each other. Pretty quickly they have to say like, no, it was literally just Taylor, just this one girl. All of them get to still be on a reality TV show without any of the shame around swinging that they would have to endure in their community. Yes, a lot of people assumed they were swingers, but they get to say, no, we weren't. And it's all thanks to Taylor. And now they think they can just kick Taylor out of the band, as if we're gonna be interested in their boring, curated lives. Without Momtok, Taylor still always has a storyline. Honestly, sometimes there's all this drama in the Momtok girl group, and Taylor doesn't even have the capacity to like deal with it or care about it. She'll be like sleeping in another room. She doesn't need that drama to be interesting. She has a toxic clout chaser boyfriend who was trying to be more involved in season 2, and no thanks, I don't want it, return to sender. I hate that we're getting husband confessionals this season. Like, no one asked for this. Leave that in the deleted scenes, special features on the DVD that probably won't exist because DVDs don't get made anymore. I don't know. We even got the classic cliche scene of Dakota like playing basketball with his buddy and like talking about his messy love life, like in a rom-com. I was just like, okay, sure. But Dakota like gives major clout chaser energy, and like there's things on the show that support that. There's things off the show. There's like accounts of people saying he had been trying to get famous for a long time. I saw on a podcast, Mayci said that anytime Taylor has a huge event, Dakota picks a fight with her, and he just seems very jealous of Taylor's success. Just add another bitch to the list of jealous about Taylor's success. But in this season, Taylor finds out, it's a continuation of season 1. She finds out that he was dating another girl when they were starting to date, and he had lied about like the amount of times he had met up with this other girl named Jenna. We see her pop up. He had lied about how far he went with her. Taylor was very hurt that he would be hanging out with her all day and doing like cute date stuff with her and fucking her at night. Taylor feels like the booty call one. And this was the last straw, kind of, for Taylor on like being fully together, or like attempting to be fully together with Dakota. And a lot of the season was them trying to separate, but unfortunately failing to separate. They would say they're separated, but then they would still be sleeping together all the time. It was very confusing and toxic, and at a certain point towards the end, Dakota gives Taylor an ultimatum. Are we together or can I move on, kind of thing? And Taylor does like agree to separate, but I don't trust her at all. I don't know, after how many times they like seemed to be separated but weren't, I'm like, can I believe anything she says about this man? No. But I think they're separated now. I don't know. We'll have to see it play out. I just don't believe it. It's too good to be true at this point. I want them apart. Yeah, he's so creepy. He gives me the ick. He creeps me out. And Taylor is bad to him too. Like, they're just a horrible, toxic couple. It's so sad they have a baby. Like, I was so gagged. Like, they got arrested. And then she was pregnant? Ugh, that's how the show got me. That's how it got me. So good. So not only does Taylor have a toxic on and off boyfriend, she has a toxic family. Especially her mom and her dad. My theory is her mom is getting plastic surgery to look like Taylor, possibly stealing her clothes, taking notes on her life, and she's going to attempt to get rid of Taylor and take her place in a future season and hope we don't notice. That was another gag of the season. Taylor's mom getting a new face. I mean, I can't say with a bunch of money overnight I wouldn't do the same. I might not. But, oh God, it's so creepy that she's like, do I look your age now? It really feels like she is trying to live Taylor's life, and it shows in last season, her calling Whitney during the baby shower, like, why aren't you here? It's like, why are you calling her? And then this time showing up to the Christmas party and crashing it at the end, trying to get her big screen time moment. It just feels so, like, gross. And how she treats Taylor, just like she's worthless. Her crashing the Christmas party, and she was trying to talk to Demi about how Demi was trying to, assemble a coup against Taylor to be the new leader of Momtok. And Taylor can very much handle a fight and gather any bitch that comes for her. So it's like, it's not like she's a meek, shy, people-pleasy girl that's gonna let anyone walk all over her and needs like her mom to come in and defend her. It's like, no, Taylor is way more brutal than Leanne will ever be. Her mom is accomplishing nothing but getting screen time, which is what she wanted. And it's annoying because Taylor is just so unbothered. She doesn't care that her mom shows up places and wants screen time. She's like, sure, mom, I guess, go ahead. But anyway, it's not just her mom. Her dad, who's technically her stepdad, but she thinks of as dad. This scene is going very viral. It's one of the most viral scenes from the season. It's her family shitting on her for not trying to stay with Dakota more. Like, the most toxic guy on earth. She's toxic to him too. The most toxic relationship ever. And her family is like, just try harder. And then the dad has the audacity to slut shame her. And that's like the frame that lives rent-free in my head, where he's like, what does that say about you? So basically blaming her for putting out so easily to Dakota that she was the booty call compared to the other girl who was like the day date girl. She's very hurt because of how much he lied about this original girl that overlapped with their relationship. And the dad is like, well, you were sleeping with him. What does that say about you? And it's like, oh God. Like, I mean, they're conservative, Mormon, Utah people. Like, I don't expect anything different from them than this attitude and this misogyny. But it was hard to watch, and she was breaking down. The brother was also following in the footsteps of the father and also blaming her, telling her to like sacrifice more for Dakota. Gross. At least there was one person, her sister, that was like, yeah, I think y'all should not be together. And I'm just like, okay, good. Someone has a brain in the room. It's obvious they need to be separate for the health of the baby, because the whole family's argument is like, you need to be together and try harder for the baby. And it's like, this baby needs these parents to not be in the same room. The baby's already witnessing all this fighting in front of it. And I'm like, isn't that worse? Honestly, I don't know how young you can be before you register fighting, but I feel like this development stage is pretty critical, and it's probably not the best thing to see your parents fighting all the time. This show is very dark, and there's so many children involved in this. Honestly, a lot of the older children we don't see, which is actually really good, and I'm glad. I lose track of who has who and who has how many and from who. Like, I lose track, which is a good thing. I don't want to see the children. I'm not here for the children. I'm here for the drama of the moms. But we still see a lot of babies, and a lot of babies seeing their parents sob and have mental breakdowns, and that's still very dark. It's our own fault for watching it. We watch it anyway. Oh, whatever. That scene was heartbreaking, with the whole family basically coming down on her. I'm glad the sister, even later in the season, she mentions again, like, y'all shouldn't be together. And it's like, no shit. But yeah, Taylor gathered Demi, and we're going to talk more about that in Demi's part 2. But Taylor is the leader, and the girls know it. And throughout me talking about the other girls' storylines, I'll talk about Taylor a lot because they all have kind of different approaches to her. I think most of them know that Taylor is the core of this show, of Momtok, the show. And getting rid of her will only hurt the show and their own visibility and audience and screen time, because Taylor brings eyeballs. That's just a fact. So I'm going to move on to the next girl, but Taylor will still pop up a lot. Next, let me talk about Mikayla. These are in no particular order. Mikayla, in my head, I think of her as the child bride. It's unfortunate, but I had to come up with like ways to differentiate them early on in season 1. And this is like her label in my head. She just looks very baby. She's one of the youngest, and her story is very heartbreaking to me. This whole season, her storyline was basically like hating Whitney, the villain of season 1. Cringy girl. We'll get to her. That's her whole thing this season. It's very like obsessive to the point where it's very annoying and exhausting to me to keep hearing about it, but also like Mikayla is very emotionally stunted. In this season, she talks about she did have abuse in the past. It's very dark for years. And then when she told her mom about it, she was not believed. That's so freaking dark. And literally a year later, at 16 years old, she gets impregnated by her husband that we see on the show, a 21-year-old at the time. So at 16, with a 21-year-old, that's why I think of her. She's a child bride to me, like getting married and impregnated that young. Her childhood was robbed from her, and it's probably why she acts like she's still in high school. It's so creepy that like this happened, and so creepy that it's so normalized in their religion, in their culture. No one talks about it as anything. And especially coming out of like an abusive situation right after like having kids and getting married. Like, oh my God. She's the one I feel the worst. Well, there's several I feel really bad for. She's one of the ones I feel the worst for. A lot of the girls are around 28 to 32. And for them, I'm just like, okay, sure. Yeah, like They're more around my age. They've had some life experience. A lot of them have been divorced or remarried. With them, I'm not as like worried about them or like feel bad for them. But the young ones that are like 23, 24 and already have like all these kids, are married, got married super young, I just feel like, oh God, pobrecitas. For Mikayla, the Whitney hate was very extra and very annoying. But at the same time, I just feel so bad for her. I'm like, I get it, girl. And she was trying to be saying like, oh, being mean and being like a bully basically is how I'm healing. Girl, it's not gonna work, but okay, it's fine for a reality TV show. She brought up Whitney every chance she got. She trained harder than an Olympian just to beat Whitney at a stupid bake-off for Friendsgiving. She like hired a chef, a professional, to teach her how to make sourdough. She made like 5 different options to submit for the competition and ended up going with her AI Jesus pumpkin pie, which got 2nd place and did beat Whitney. So she got what she wanted. When they went to the haunted house, she was like, I don't need to go to a haunted house. Whitney already gives me the heebie-jeebies, or whatever it was. She couldn't do anything without mentioning her hatred of Whitney, which at times I get, and especially towards the end of the season when Whitney became snaky again, I was like, okay, maybe Mikayla was right all along, but it was just still too much. Like, girl, get over it, live your own life. Like, what do you care what this other cringy girl is doing? I guess our other storyline that was not Whitney related, thankfully, was that she is pregnant also. 3 women of the main cast were pregnant this season. She's one of them. It was revealed at a super fun game of pregnancy roulette. Her friendship with Mayci seems very real, and I think that's the thing. Like, some of them have individual relationships and friendships, but it's more like duos, like one-on-one type things, rather than the group being like a group. It's a lot like the Real Housewives, honestly, and how they're built. A lot of the Real Housewives, they don't have like a ton of history, but they're like in the same city and have similar lifestyles, and that's like what production brings them together on. And then once the seasons get going, then they build that history. So I think that's the approach that they're taking for Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. A lot of the shows like this that I love, like Vanderpump Rules, Shaws of Sunset, I love the shows where they have a lot of history. I think really special reality TV comes from that. That feels very real, but we can't always have that. So, and this show has done a really great job at being entertaining, and keeping up like a good facade of like a group. Even though this season I feel like it's falling apart, and it's going to be interesting how they're going to keep it going. But yeah, that's Mikayla. Mikayla's one of the like more filler queens of the season for me in general. I mean, season 1 especially, but season 2, she had more of a role because she was like the main anti-Whitney person that was like kind of keeping Whitney out of the group. But still, Mikayla's never one with like the front and center storyline. Okay, so next is Jen Affleck. Oh God, Jen, her label to me in my head is the Latina one. Yay, representation. Do I really want to be represented in this show? Absolutely not. I guess if I don't want to think of her as the Latina one, I think of her as the Affleck one, but can I even say that anymore after this season and the revelations we got about that? Because it turns out it was phony. Though it was kind of played off as a joke in season 1, but she did claim she was distantly related to Ben Affleck, and this season her husband was like, please stop, we're not related to him. So yeah, we left off with her in a very rocky place with Zach. They were gonna move to New York. He was being very controlling in Vegas. Oh my God, I hate him so much. I hate him so much. Warning, I hate Zach. He was basically threatening to divorce her because she attended a Chippendale show. She entered the building where Chippendales happens. She didn't even get to stay for the show because he rage texted her so much, she left. And he rage texted her all night, and she was crying all night. He was like, I don't want to be married to someone that goes within 100 feet of a Chippendales performer, basically. I don't know. And what pisses me off so much is like, she is the breadwinner for their family. He is a jobless loser getting his education paid for by other parties and getting a gambling allowance for Vegas from his wife, who he is threatening to divorce for showing up to work. She's filming a TV show. The TV show is going to Chippendales. She is going to work. The work that gives you the gambling money. Like, don't you just want more gambling money? At least, like, how do we get to him? In season 2, I was thrilled to find out they were separated. They had tried moving to Arizona, which in Vanderpump Villa, that's what was happening. But she moved back to Utah, I think, to film the show. They're not saying that. When she said they were separated, I was like, hell yes. Like, we did it, Joe. We did it. And then who rings the doorbell immediately? Boo. Boo. Let's actually play that clip in reverse, shall we? That's so much better. Zach became more involved, similar to Dakota in season 2. He was definitely, to me, he seemed to be trying to do a whole redemption arc to change the way he was perceived by the audience. It felt like a very calculated plan to rehab his image after showing his true colors last season, I think. Maybe he should attend a Jake Paul lookalike contest and win like $100 and contribute to his family's income. Maybe that would be nice. Anything helps, Zach. And so they decide to be working on their marriage. Boo. 1,000 times boo. I mean, whatever. They have children, sure. But it's just like, this lady does not seem safe. She was crying the whole season that we saw her. It's very suspicious. They like try to do ketamine therapy. Christy, the dance mom, thinks this was like just a very shock value thing because they mentioned ketamine in season 1, and in season 2, producers are like, let's up the ante and show ketamine therapy because people are gonna gag that these Mormons that don't drink coffee, they don't drink alcohol, they don't do anything, but they're fine with ketamine. It's like very taboo and like a thing. And she's so right. Like, I think she's right, and she knows how reality TV works. So like, I'm buying it. So yeah, we see the ketamine therapy. Great example of men will literally do anything before going to actual therapy. And Jen is trying to get him to like reconcile with Demi and Jessi, who were the prime like girls that were upset about how Zach was being so controlling in the Vegas, the Chippendales thing. So Zach talks to Demi and Jessi, and I thought it was so bizarre that he somehow turned Demi and Jessi against Jen. And now all 3 of them are against Jen. Zach, not so much. He's trying to like, you know, work on their marriage, whatever. I think Zach's plan is to isolate her completely from all her friends and from this job because he doesn't want his ass exposed, even though it means more money, whatever. Okay. So Demi and Jessi are telling him like, you know, Jen told us you gambled away your medical school tuition and stuff. And Zach is like, that's a lie. And Demi and Jessi were like, oh, that's a lie? So Jen's a liar. Also, they find out about the Ben Affleck thing and that she's not an Affleck in that way. And they're like, Jen's a liar. So, like, the whole narrative becomes Jen is such a liar. And they, like, confront Jen in front of Zach about the medical school tuition thing. And Jen is kind of like, Zach, explain this, like, whatever. And he's like, that's a lie. I feel like you can see the gears turning in that scene, and she's, like, pivoting to being like, oh, yeah, it's a lie. I made it up. And then so Demi and Jessi plan another Chippendales ambush at Jessi's Halloween party. I swear, this show is the most promotion that Chippendales has ever had in its lifetime. But then Zach gets very upset that they had Chippendales, well, their husbands and a Chippendales guy dance on Jen at the Halloween party. So Demi and Jessi hate Jen more because Jen had said, this is okay. They had kind of warned her that this was going to happen. And so they were like, we warned her. And she was like, that's cool. You guys, she is in a horrible marriage. That man is pulling the strings. It's crazy to me they can't like put it together that Zach is the one controlling and influencing Jen to be like inconsistent, because Jen probably has these moments of honesty to them and being like, complaining about Zach and the things he's doing, but then Zach is there in the room and she has to backtrack all those things, and so she looks like a liar. She's with a potentially abusive guy. Like, that's why she might be kind of inconsistent about things. I don't think he's changed from season 1. I think he just got good at hiding it in front of cameras. He was really mad about the Chippendales thing, which was clearly like a producer pushed thing. I just wish he could like see it as a job. Maybe it's just like he has so much shame about this job and he hates the show. But I don't know, when it's like providing for your family and giving you a very comfortable life, like, can we just sacrifice some Mormon values a little bit? But I mean, Jen does attempt to like fight back at Demi and Jessi. She claims she's from the hood. Very cringy. And she's also threatening Demi about the Italy shenanigans from Vanderpump Villa, which, if you're curious, I did make a whole video recapping Vanderpump Villa. There is a timestamp in that video, if you look at the description, for just the part where I talk about the recap of all the Mormon wives stuff. So yeah, Jen is threatening this to expose things Demi might have done in Italy around Vanderpump Villa time, and she also accuses Jessi of her husband rubbing his tiny dick on her. Jen is trying to like come out with the claws and fight back against Demi and Jessi, but then she finds out she's pregnant. And this is a huge turning point for Jen. Her reaction to being pregnant was heartbreaking. It truly felt like she was hopeless and trapped. And from there, she goes into a pretty deep depression. If only a procedure existed that could give her back her freedom. And if only that procedure wasn't super taboo or criminalized in our society. Imagine that. It's so tragic. And yeah, I see her lashing out at Demi and Jessi, her being inconsistent and like lying, like the lies she's been caught in, just a result of her being in this toxic, potentially abusive relationship with Zach. Like, at least it's a very controlling one, which I still think is abusive. And she also feels trapped due to her beliefs, her values. She has children with him, and now she's pregnant. And the show stopped following them after episode 4 because she was just in a deep depression and having ideation, not wanting to be there anymore. Pretty sad. And I just hope someday she can separate from this man. I really don't buy that she's like crying every day because of this like friend group, Momtok thing. It's a friend group she barely sees, barely talks to, and she's crying every day at all times. It makes more sense that she's crying about the person she lives with and interacts with all the time rather than the people she doesn't interact with all the time. And Zach keeps saying like, oh, she cries every day about the girls and about the drama. And it's like, that's probably what she's telling you to not make you more mad. So I'm glad cameras stopped following her. It seems to like aggravate Zach more. And it's so weird, like seeing her content on social media. I kind of did a light research of the girls' content on social media. Jen's TikToks are so extremely different than what we see on the show. Like on the show, she's literally always crying, depressed, struggling. And on TikTok, she's like super smiley, happy all the time. It's just, I feel so, I don't know. It's a little creepy and sad. Okay, next is Mayci. Mayci is an interesting character. She's more of a supporting role, but she is fine with that. She is happy to be in her supporting role. I think she is the most business-minded of all of them in a smart way. She always has a venture going on. Last season, she had baby mama, vitamins, gummies, something or other. This season, she got a book deal for like a memoir type thing. and she hosted a celebrity pickleball tournament. She's always doing something that's like working, helping her career, diversifying her income. That's why she always rides the fence, I think. She's always in the middle, but she gets along with everybody. She focuses on carving a niche out for herself instead of worrying about like having the most followers, having the biggest brand deal. It feels like she focuses on her own ventures and opportunities that make sense for her personal brand, and that really gets her far. This is why she's not attempting a coup on Taylor, even if she doesn't want to be best friends with Taylor necessarily and thinks she's chaotic. She knows that having this show be the most successful it can be is what's best for her. And Taylor being there with her chaotic life is what's gonna do that. I think she's very smart and like thinking of the big picture instead of like some of these other girls like Whitney and Demi letting the ego and like fame-hungry greed get to her to like be the biggest, the biggest star, whatever. And she ensures she can be in every scene, basically have a lot of screen time just by being the friend that people can count on to like talk one-on-one to, because she's cool with everybody. So like she's fine to be in a scene with anybody. And while being kind of neutral and riding the fence, she's also a decent pot stirrer, in a way that like gets drama going. She has the Sinner Sunday confessions, which led to a big plotline in season 1 with Taylor, and in this season with Demi. She gets these like juicy confessions about like people's husbands and the shady things they've done. Brett, Demi's husband, and that someone hooked up with him while Demi was away. That's a really convenient tool to like stir the pot and make drama. Also at her like book deal celebration party, she kind of brought out a truth box 2.0, where this truth boxing is so producer-y vibes, but they do the truth box thing sometimes and they just write anonymous things in the box. And in that one, someone said, I think Jen is fake. And it was Layla. She's happy to inject stuff to stir the pot, but she's not one to like attack or offend somebody. And on top of bringing in her business ventures and tying them into the show, she brings her own storylines that she probably feels will resonate with women. She went through IVF this season and got pregnant. She also got exposed during the fun pregnancy roulette. She's also looking for like closure about her first son's father who passed away. She like opened up more about that story, and she went to the crash site on camera, which I thought was a little much. Like, I didn't need to see that. It felt like a very personal, private thing, but you know, you do you. So she is willing to put out a level of vulnerability. I still think it's like a bit curated and it's careful and more calculated, but she knows she needs to open up and be vulnerable to be interesting, and she knows to be supportive. She knows how to cause a little drama, but not be a villain, not attack. I just think she's very smart to ride the fence as much as she does. I think it's what you have to do on these shows, and she guarantees herself like a pretty decent spot. Like, she's carved out that role for herself. Okay, next is Layla. Okay, Layla. Layla. I like Layla a lot, but my poor girl, she's she's low-key like the biggest pot stirrer on the show. She's the one who brought out the pregnancy roulette, and through that ruined 2 pregnancy announcements and triggered the girl going through fertility issues, and somehow there's no consequences for that. I assume maybe it's like the girls know it's more producer pushed and Layla's just like the vehicle. That has to be it, because if it was all Layla pushing that, I feel like there would have been more like pointing fingers at her. I think Layla is just like easy for producers to mold and push in the directions they want. Like, she's a producer's cast member. I just feel that producer hand behind her a lot. She's always stirring the pot. She shows Taylor the text thread without her where Taylor sees all the shit that everyone's talked about her. After Demi gives an ultimatum that it's either her or Taylor, she like goes and reports back to Taylor. For some reason in the confessions box, she says Jen is fake. Also at the very end, she seeks out Marciano for answers about what's going on between him or Demi or him and Jessi. By the way, major jump scare when Marciano showed up from Vanderpump Villa. You can watch my Vanderpump Villa video for the recap, but just know Marciano is a douche canoe. And I'll get more into that in like Demi and Jessi's parts of this because they're more intertwined with him. Layla, to me, she's more of a follower compared to Mayci, who's more like calculated about how she interacts with everybody. Like, Layla is kind of in a similar place as Mayci. Like, she rides the fence a bit. She's not trying to like come for a leadership role. But to me, it feels more like she kind of just is wishy-washy, like supports whoever she's around, and just feels a little more people-pleasy to me, rather than like being calculated about it. Like when she promises Taylor she's gonna stand up for her when Demi is trying to fight her, and then it's crickets when the fight is happening, and Layla's just sitting there like this. I feel like Layla does get more aware about it towards the end, when she wakes up about Demi, and Demi is crashing out, spiraling about Taylor, and Layla's just like, Demi's kind of crazy. But still, I'm rooting for Layla to like find more of her voice and her point of view in this whole thing. I just kind of feel like she does what she's told, like on production side especially, which is mostly just me speculating, and then with the girls too. She started out kind of a minion for Demi and Jessi, like against Jen, saying she's fake, and at first with the Taylor stuff, but then kind of start coming around to Taylor. I don't know, I'm rooting for her. I loved that she smoked a coochie joint. I feel like she has a lot of potential to like leave this friend group. Like, it's so annoying because I don't want her to leave the show because I think this is a great opportunity for her. Like, girl, get your bag. But also, like, she's one of the only liberal ones. She's kind of been separating from the Mormon culture. And I'm just like, you could have so much better friends. And probably off camera, she has better friends and like a real life group or support system and stuff. But I'm just like, girl, you can do better than this group of cringy ladies. I don't know. Layla did have a plotline this season about having a boyfriend and dating. They like have a fight and then make up during the season. I didn't like him that much because he seemed very like hardcore Mormon conservative, and I feel like Layla had already been like drifting away from that, and I was like, this is gonna regress. But I have seen on social media that they have broken up and that he was kind of a clout chaser. He loved the camera, and that she's going to be more aware of that moving forward. She can do so much better too. Like, he had no redeeming qualities to me. Okay, next is Whitney. Oh, Whitney. She was the villain of season 1. She has major main character syndrome, major theater kid energy, derogatory. Just the way she walks into a room. Her outfits, oh god, her outfits, they're ooky kooky quirky. And I can't really judge there given how I dress. Honestly, we were robbed of a reunion for so many reasons, but one minuscule one is like, what garish, wild, weird thing would Whitney have worn on that reunion? It would have been very Raquel Leviss ruffle core. If you know, you know. But yeah, Whitney is on the outs all season because of her actions in season 1. She like left the group chat, then was pissed no one checked on her. She's such a drama queen. And it makes sense why she is one of the ones that is like mad about Taylor being the leader and core and main character of the show, because she has main character energy and wants to be that person. And honestly, Whitney brings mess and chaos to a lower level and degree than Taylor does, but it's still something and still very interesting. Like, Whitney is at the top of one of the most like interesting weirdos on this show. Her TikTok dancing with her baby in ICU or whatever it was insanely viral outside of this show and just ridiculous. So this season she just had her baby from season 1. And she wants to come right back into Momtok, the show. So she's on good behavior most of the season. She's toning herself down until she's not at the end. She does have this like blow up at one of the girls' trips because Mikayla hates her guts. She will not let it go. And Whitney is so dumb. She's just like, Mayci and everyone asks, like, do you regret not going to Mayci's event last season? And Whitney's like, no, I don't regret it because it made me the person I am today. And it's just like, girl, just say what they want you to say if you're trying to get back in this, whatever. So Mikayla starts poking at her a lot, and then Whitney finally blows up, and we have a moment of breaking the fourth wall, which this season did a few times, and it's always fun and interesting when they break the fourth wall. Whitney's trying to be like, what did I do wrong? Let's go down the line and I'll take accountability for everything. Accountability was a fucking word of the season. I don't think anyone knows what it means. But Whitney's like, what did I do? And everyone's like, you only care about this stuff and taking accountability when the cameras are on. And Whitney's like, no, duh, we're filming a show. We're filming a reality show. And I believe it. I believe that Whitney is trying to get back into Momtok, which is code for the show. And she does not care about these people outside the show. None of them care about each other, really. Aside from maybe Mayci and Mikayla, the people that have like friendships one-on-one with people. For the most part, I don't think these people hang out. They have children. They're busy. Friend groups are hard as an adult without children. Enough. Like, I barely see my friends. And it's like, I can't imagine having children on top of it and then influencing TikTok bullshit on top. Like, I don't believe these people hang out that much together. Whitney was doing pretty good with all the girls except Mikayla. Until the end. She became the villain. Once again, she couldn't help herself. She mom-talked too close to the sun and saw an opportunity of a coup on Taylor without realizing she and Demi were the only ones that were in on that plan and wanted to get Taylor out. The gag was that Taylor was the nicest to her all season. And at the end, she betrays her just for seeing like a small window, potentially we can dethrone Taylor, which is what she wanted season 1. When Taylor had been so good to her all season. She went to her baby shower, wasn't petty. She was like the first to visit her after giving birth. When everyone voted after that blow up and whatever on that girls trip, should Whitney be back in Momtok? Nobody raised their hands except Taylor. And yet at the end, she wants to be with Demi alone on Villain Island still? That was such bullshit. She's a snake. She wants to be the star. Her main character syndrome got the best of her. And that was her same issue in season 1. Mikayla was right. She was a bitch about it the whole time, but she was right. Whitney, we were rooting for you. Sort of. Very mildly rooting for you, but at least a little bit throughout the season. And she went and ruined it. I mean, at least Whitney is a fun villain. Like, I feel like Whitney brings chaos. She brings vulnerability. The season 1 stuff with her husband having a porn addiction and going on Tinder and stuff, like, that was some vulnerable, embarrassing shit. And she put it out there. So, like, I do have respect for her in the reality TV sense. Like, I think she's good on the show. But at the same time, she's not helping her case for being, like, cool with the group. She's already made an enemy out of Mikayla. And now this season, she ended up making an enemy out of Taylor, the person who had her back. That's ridiculous. And Whitney's a ridiculous reality TV character. Okay, next is Demi. The other villain, the new villain of season 2. Let's discuss the poster that everyone finds very funny after watching the season. Whatever producer ordered this decision, they are cruel. They are cruel to Demi. They literally put her on the same level in the very, very back as the new girl, who was mostly an innocent bystander the whole season. It's kind of like the poster is a gag. And Taylor, where's Taylor? Front and center. So Demi has a major talking shit behind people's back problem. That seems to be like an always problem. Like last season, she called Taylor white trash. And that came after the Truth Box 1.0. And this season, she got exposed for talking shit about her own best friend, Jessi, and her career, her salon. It kind of feels like Demi went into this season for sure wanting to, like, have a villain. At the beginning, it's Jen, and she's after Jen, saying Jen's a liar. She's so giddy for Jen to come on the girls' trip so that Demi can, like, confront her. I think she thinks this is her way of getting the screen time, just like having an enemy and calling people out. But then Jen doesn't come on the girls' trip because she gets pregnant and very depressed. So Demi switches her target to Taylor, but she came for the wrong queen in Taylor, because then Taylor exposes her dirty laundry and also breaks the fourth wall again and talks about how Demi was willing to take a bigger contract and negotiate a higher salary, even if it meant kicking out Jessi, her closest friend in the group. A great breaking the fourth wall moment. And Taylor also calls her out for the rumor that Demi thinks she should be getting the biggest brand deals. And she can't help herself from admitting, it's not a shock I was a fan favorite last season. Girl. Let me tell you the quickest way to become a fan least favorite. It's to say that you're a fan favorite. Taylor calls her out because Taylor's like, I live my life completely open in front of cameras. If anyone should have the highest salary or negotiate a higher salary, it should be me, because she suffers all the consequences of all that public scrutiny, while Demi just wants to make surface level drama at a dinner table, which is tea. That's so tea. And Taylor says she would never screw anyone in contract negotiations. She never talks shit about other people the way Demi does. Taylor is so unbothered. I believe that. She does not have time. She has a chaotic, toxic boyfriend, toxic family, 3 children, brand deals and opportunities, appearances. Like, Taylor does not have time to be on a thread talking shit about these girls. She's not threatened because she knows, like, she pays the price for the openness she brings to reality TV, and she knows she's bringing it. And Demi is very threatened by other women, and we see that set up too at Mayci's book deal celebration. We see that Demi is a very jealous woman. She asked Layla, like, how much did this brand deal pay? So she's very interested in money. Taylor can see right through that and gathered her ass at that dinner. From then forward, Demi kind of becomes the villain because the other girls don't trust her anymore after she betrayed her closest friend, Jessi, talked shit about her and her hair abilities, which is her whole business, and tried to screw her in contract negotiations. They also don't trust her after how she treated Taylor's mom at the Christmas party. The girls are seeing Demi just spiral and crash out this whole season. And in these threads, she's just like ripping Taylor apart. After the CMA thing, she latches onto that. She's super toxic online to Taylor. Also, the other girls see, like, when Jen sends in, like, a tearful apology to everybody, like, saying, I'm going through my own shit, I'm pregnant, sorry if I treated people badly. She sends this crying video to everybody, and everyone's, like, very empathetic about it, and then Demi is like, I don't buy it. She's the only one without any empathy at all for Jen, even though they saw firsthand how she was treated by Zach last season. It's so weird. Demi judged Jen so hard for having a controlling husband, and yet when the girls are trying to skinny dip during a girls' trip, she calls Brett, and Brett disapproves of skinny dipping in front of cameras. All of a sudden, she doesn't want to skinny dip. That's so hypocritical. You judge someone else for a controlling husband when the calls are coming from inside the house. And I think the other girls just know that Taylor is good for ratings, and they know not to rock the boat too much about Taylor. There's a lot of moments in this season where people are right, but for the wrong reasons. Like, honestly, Zach with Jen, he is kind of right that, like, these aren't good friends to Jen, but he's acting out of, like, controlling her and isolating her from friendships rather than, like, genuine concern, it feels like. In this case, Demi is right about Taylor being, like, a really chaotic person, not a great friend at times. She's petty, she's impulsive, her decisions are very frustrating, she's constantly complaining about Dakota and her love life, but then is sleeping with him anyway, or gets pregnant or whatever. I would not choose to be around someone like that in a friend capacity in real life. Keyword, in real life. You are on a reality show. This is a group that is a business relationship more than anything. This show is a lot more like Selling Sunset, except instead of selling LA mansions, they're selling cringy TikTok dances. Like, it doesn't seem like the other girls are super close with Taylor, but they know she's key to the business, and so they're able to put up with her flaws. Most of Taylor's flaws are within her own life anyway. When it comes to the other girls, she's generally pretty supportive and chill. She doesn't, like, attack unless she's attacked. So it's not like she's someone that's really unpleasant to have around, aside from, like, complaining about her toxic relationship. But Don't you want her to complain about her love life to you on camera, and then you're in the shot, and then you can say, oh, you deserve love and you're great, and then you look like the nice supportive friend? Like, that's good for your show. Demi's ego just totally got in the way this season. She's very money hungry. She's fame hungry. She views Taylor as a huge threat. There's so much projection this whole season because she's constantly saying, like, Taylor is threatened by her. This unbothered queen? You think she's threatened by you? On her show? You the one hiding all the cracks in your marriage at every turn? Like, Taylor's not worried, trust me. We saw there were some cracks in Demi's marriage, but she was being very cagey about it the whole season. You get more honest information on Vanderpump Villa when it comes to her marriage. The only place we see the cracks is at the penis candy store, whatever that was. And Brett gets very defensive about the cheating rumor from the Sinner Sunday confession thing that he cheated on Demi. Demi is kind of getting suspicious, like questioning why he's so bothered because he's being defensive. Apparently she's heard that he cheated on his ex-wife, and she's like, I know that's not true. And it's like, girl, oh, sorry to tell you, but that's what they all say. And then right after this scene, the cameras go down and the audio still rolls, and it's like a little gotcha thing, but they just overhear how bothered he is about this rumor and how mad he is. And I'm kind of wondering how much Brett is behind some of Demi's actions this season and telling her, like, you know, you need to attack people, you need to yell, and you need to, like, cause drama to, like, keep it interesting. Or maybe he's telling her, like, why don't you have this opportunity Taylor got and stuff. Like, I feel like he's maybe egging this on behind the scenes because he also has, like, a background in show business. He was almost going to be on, like, a Bachelorette season. He's also, like, fame hungry, it seems like. And there's something shady there. And he's very shady about the cheating thing, and I believe it, honestly, because where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, that's what they always say. So she goes full villain mode at the end. Even her new look, her makeover for the Christmas party, is very vampy. It's giving villain. I love when the costuming matches what's going on in reality TV. It's just like chef's kiss. And yeah, she gives the group an ultimatum. It's either her or Taylor. The group is generally siding with Taylor. It's not really a blindside that they're not on board with Demi. Mikayla's very like, I want to kick out Whitney, but I can't be the one to make that decision. That's not fair. So they all try to hold this, like, Momtok board meeting to decide who's in or out. And Demi tries to bring this ultimatum to the meeting, and Taylor's like, well, if that's how you feel, there's the door, homie. She gathers her, shows her the door. They call her bluff because Demi is like, oh shit. And then she's like, well, I gotta think about it. And she leaves, but she's like, I gotta think about if I want to be here. Demi's the only one coming for Taylor. All the girls know what's good for them. Even Whitney backs off at the very end because, and they vote on Whitney and they actually vote her back in. And Whitney is just like glad, and she's like, I'm not rocking the boat. They all know this is a business. Like, it's stupid. Make the most of what you got. Like, even the smallest role on this show is a ginormous platform. Like, you can do so much with it. Just look at Mayci. Like, she's not bringing the most drama or fascinating storyline or chaotic storyline, but, like, she is carving her niche. So, yeah, Demi is public enemy number 1 on social media. Oh, I forgot to give my disclaimer. Shit. I should disclaim. That's not sending hate to Demi or anybody. It's just a TV show. There's a lot of producing going on. Just enjoy it for what it is. Demi did bring in a storyline of, like, her fertility journey, which was, I think, if she had just stuck to that and eased up on her villainizing of Taylor, like, she could have still called out people and been, like, dramatic and stuff, but then accepted apologies. She would have probably stayed a fan favorite that she was in season 1, because I think a lot of women would have related to her fertility struggles. That's something very vulnerable. It's very real. Okay, next is Jessi. She's the other, like, my twin. I called Demi and Jessi the twins. That first season, it took me an embarrassing amount of time to realize they were 2 people. But they are 2 people. This was an interesting season for Jessi because she's very much like a supporting, like, filler character, but she kind of came more into the forefront by the end, and the cliffhanger is all about her. It's very intriguing. Jessi was kind of a villain with Demi. They were teamed up against Jen. Originally, like at the beginning of the season, they organized the Chippendales thing, the Halloween party. She was pushing the narrative that Jen is a liar. She at least later on did have empathy for Jen when she made the crying video and sent an apology. And she regrets how she treated Jen by the end. Towards the end, Jessi became more of a victim of Demi's villainy, just laying there in the wake of Demi's path of destruction all season. I felt bad for her because first her bestie slash twin was trying to get her kicked off the show just to get a higher salary, which is wild to me because Demi is clearly the more expendable twin. If you're gonna keep one of the twins, you should keep Jessi because she organizes a lot of the events. For New Orleans, she planned a whole New Orleans themed dinners and activities and stuff. It was so nice. Jessi also does like all of their hair for free. So if we have to get rid of a twin, I vote Demi. She brings a lot less to the table. But anyway, first her bestie is trying to negotiate her out of the season in her contract. Then Taylor exposes that Demi is saying Jessi is bad at coloring hair, which is her whole fucking career. And apparently she told Taylor she only goes to Jessi out of obligation, which is horrible to hear from your best friend. And when Demi tries to apologize about this, she only makes Jessi feel worse. And then on top of all of this shit, she has to get like thyroid removal surgery. The poor girl went through it. And then at the end, she was central to the cliffhanger. Marciano, the aforementioned douche canoe, alleges he's had an affair with Jessi. He tells this to Layla, who goes to like get answers from him. And it's so funny to me seeing Vanderpump people interact with Mormon people because Layla is so gagged. Marciano is pouring straight tequila and drinking it. She's so confused when that's just like a regular Tuesday afternoon for a Vanderpump cast member. So there had been a rumor that Jessi was kissing Marciano at Tom Tom. More Vanderpump crossover. And at Sir. These places are just like holy grounds for reality TV drama. He says that nothing happened with Demi, who is the one he flirted with in Vanderpump Villa. But with Jessi, the rumors were true about them kissing, and that they've tried to meet up a few times, that they've basically continued the affair. And Layla asked straight up, like, did you fuck? And he's like, yes. The thing about Marciano, though, is he's so unreliable. He's horrible. If you watch Vanderpump Villa, you know. He's not even funny in, like, a cringy way like Tom Sandoval or, like, in a sociopath way like Jax. Like, he's just straight up uninteresting douche. Alpha male, bleh, gross. So I don't know what's up there. I don't know. Demi and Marciano were so cozy at Vanderpump Villa. I'm wondering if he's just like Demi's henchman. Is he Demi's op? That's what the kids are saying, right? Am I using that term right? Kids are always talking about ops. I think he's an op working for Demi against Jessi. To tear her down and get her kicked off the show for good? Or did Jessi really have an affair? And Marciano was like, any of them will do. She looks just like Demi. There was a little preview and it seems like it might have been the latter. Jessi can't really say much in interviews, but she's not wearing her ring and she's kind of like talking shit about her husband. So we don't know what her husband has been like. I'm not judging Jessi just yet, even if she did have an affair. I mean, I'm judging her for it being Marciano, like, ew, but whatever. And this is where I'm confused if season 2 is over or not. It's very unclear. It seems like they've released all the episodes, but apparently when they announced season 2 got renewed, the season 2 got renewed, it was ordered for a 20 episode season. So maybe it's like a part 1 and part 2 type of thing. Maybe the next thing will be season 3, but it's coming soon. I really don't understand or know what's going on because it's ended with to be continued, and isn't that every season? Unless you get canceled. But they already had footage for the next thing, the next part. So, I mean, I'm seated. If we're getting more season 2, I'm happy about it. Happy to have it. I'm excited to see what the But yeah, what do y'all think? Do y'all think Marciano is an op? Or is he too dumb for that? I think he might be too dumb for that, to be honest. I don't know. Our final cast member I want to talk about really quick is just Miranda. She was new to the cast this season. I think they were trying to bring her in to be like a new villain, and they didn't know Demi was planning on going full villain mode just yet. Miranda's kind of a queenie. I mean, she came in when it was real convenient after the show took off. Everyone saw that. The Momtoks all saw that and were like, why are you here? Questioning her, and she was still denying the swinging. But then once her and Taylor talked it out, Miranda admitted to the swinging, which wasn't really swinging. It was like, I didn't want it too explicit on YouTube or they'll get mad at me, but if you watch the show, you saw group things were going on. Taylor kind of described the things, and Miranda was like, yeah, she's not lying. And so that kind of squashed it. And after that, Miranda wasn't much of a villain. She was really funny, like with her claws at the Halloween party. And she stuck up for Taylor against her own ex-husband, Chase, who came in kind of clout chasey, wanting screen time. I didn't even talk about Demi and like, oh God, the whole thing where Chase laid hands on Demi and she like tried to get Brett after him. That was so, again, she's just so dramatic and trying to make everything like major, like for reality TV or something, when it's just phony. Chase, we saw some of him at the Halloween party. People roasted his podcast. People called him a clout chaser. Taylor fought with him. The Halloween party was very hilarious. All the Mean Girls references were very on point with how mean girly all of these girlies are. Miranda stuck up for Taylor. That was fierce. She was pointing her claws all over the place. I also like Miranda was like a good example of a divorced person for Jen. Jen was asking her questions about like, when did you know it was time to leave? And it's like, girl, as soon as possible, please. Miranda was chill. I mean, I think she was in it for the paycheck. Also, it seems like producers don't want the swinging thing to be completely out the window. Like, that's a big, big hook for the whole show. And so bringing someone that was actually in the swinging scandal was important. And everyone kind of hid and denied it that was in the scandal. And that's who ideally would have been in season 1, but they all rejected it. And now she had success, was like, fine, I'll do it. Probably saw the paycheck, said she'll do it. Towards the end, she's just kind of like, if this is what women supporting women is, I don't know if I'm interested. And that was tea, honestly. So it kind of seems unclear if she's going to come back. And she was kind of inconsequential ultimately in the season. Yeah, I don't know what this to be continued thing means, but I will be here and I'll be talking about it. This was a long video because there were 10 episodes. And these bitches cause so much drama, do so much shit, have so many babies. There was too much to talk about. So let me know what you think about season 2 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. If you want me to keep covering this show, let me know. I know in my last video, people were asking for it. So I'm excited to, because there's so much to talk about with this show. I'm also running a little limited edition merch t-shirt right now. It's my very first piece of miscellaneous type of merch. It's more subtle. It doesn't have my face on it or anything, but it is this design that is a reminder to touch grass, but in a pixelated pink simulation kind of way. I made it with a local studio in Austin, Texas, and they have really soft t-shirts, really great quality of ink, and I need to sell 10 shirts in order to get it made, and I really want one for me. So if you're interested in supporting me and getting a fun t-shirt in exchange, then check out the link in the description. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I put out new videos whenever I feel like it about TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things. And you can follow me at Miscellaneous to keep up with me, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!